Hey guys, this is Sean Sandridge and I am here with a video for you. Yes, so listen, I have to upload videos. My day has been crazy. Maybe I'll tell you in about, I don't know, another 8 hours because it's 1 o'clock in the morning. But I've got this review for the new celebrity Apprentice. And okay, so let's just get into it. Okay, so the first task is that they have Kawasaki Motors as their client, and they are in charge of creating a full photo campaign for their new Kawasaki Vulcan S Cruiser. Now, they have to do a 4-page photo campaign, and they are going to be judged on creativity, demographics, appeal, and presentation. It is important that this bike, unlike all the other bikes, is supposed to be inclusive, and this bike is to appeal for everybody. So the project manager for the men is Carson, and for the women is Kyle. And I was really interested to see Kyle because she has been the creative director or the creative concept inspirator. She's been the creative fuel behind a lot of the Prima's projects, and they have not won. And so now Kyle is going to be the project manager. So I was really looking forward to seeing how she was going to do the creative part, and if she was actually going to be able, one, to pull it off, because her concepts have fallen flat. And even though she doesn't necessarily go to the boardroom, she goes unscathed. Okay, so the bike is supposed to be made for everyone who rides. They have these ergo handlebars, and Kawasaki really prides themselves on being a rebel band. Now, Carson was having a lot of fun, and Boy George was really behind. Evidently, Boy George, one of his passions is being a photographer, and he was really hyped to be part of the creative part of this project. And Carson has done a lot of photo shoots, so he really wanted to take the helm on this. So they come up with all of these different crazy concepts. Carson's naked on the bike. They had this drag queen who they couldn't pronounce their name because it was pretty crude, because every time they mentioned her name, they had to bleep it out. So I have no idea who it is. You know, they had Ricky doing an iconic Ann Lieberitz pose that Arnold Schwarzenegger did on a horse, and they were just all over the place. The MMA fighter Shale was not feeling it at all because he felt like it was too over the top. Now, Kawasaki wanted this to be a kind of a forward ad, something different, and Carson and Boy George was having a good time. For the women, they did the contrast of Kyle, who's 5'2", and Lisa Leslie, who is 6'5". I didn't realize she was that tall. And then they did Layla and her being strong. And then what they wanted to do was have Brooke's husband, David, who's an avid rider. They wanted to flip the script because they wanted to have this running thread of women being empowered and women being powerful, and that, you know, there is a growing trend of women bikers, and they really wanted to showcase that. They had Portia on there looking cute, and then they wanted to really flip the script and have Brooke riding the bike and her husband being on the back, and to make it different. So what ended up happening is, for Brooke's shoot, her husband said, oh, absolutely not. He's like, I did not come down here to be riding in the back of you. That is crazy. I'm not doing it. And his manhood was called into question by himself. And he's like, there's no way that I am going to be in a photo where I'm in the back of the bike and you're going to present that to the governor. Absolutely not. So what they ended up doing was this cute, regular photo with her in the back and him looking macho and her looking pretty. So I was really kind of like, okay, Kyle, this was your theme. Now, it was nice that you asked Brooke's husband to do it, but I was thinking to myself, you're the project manager. This was your creative concept. If you really wanted that, I'm going to flip the script and show Kawasaki something different. One, either Brooke would have been like, okay, fine. If your husband doesn't want to do it, you need to okay that we're going to get some guy to play his part since he's backed out, because I want this shot. And then if for some reason, because it's her husband and he wasn't like an idea of some strange model guy being behind his wife, then you just scrap both of them and you get a female model and you get a male model and you get the shot, because nothing about any of their stuff was, you know, over the top. Now, I did like Kyle and Lisa, but Portia's wasn't anything great. And Layla's was good. I mean, okay, that's cool. Strong biker woman. And Brooke and her husband was just a regular old photo. So I was like, she really should have put her foot down and got the shot by any means necessary. So what the men did is they came up with the shots, and then they did like an outtake of collage of shots that did not make the four, which was nice. So they went with Ricky, who did the iconic shot. They went with Vince, who is an avid rider, and he's in a tuxedo and he's holding a Yorkie. And then they had this girl who doesn't really look like she would be a biker. And then they had the drag queen, who I thought that it would have been better. The drag queen was on the bike, but it was really kind of a fluff kind of piece. It would have been interesting if the drag queen would have been on the bike like she's going to ride the bike, even though she's in her pumps and a beehive and a dress. Like she was just kind of on it, like the bike was more of a prop and not showing that this really tall drag queen could ride the bike. Just my opinion. Anyway, so they do the presentation, and for the men, the executives thought that they loved the creativity. They thought that they had a great knowledge and found Carson entertaining. What they lacked was that they pushed the envelope too much, and that they thought that they would essentially ruffle the feathers of their core group. Although Boy George stood by what they were saying, that this was, you know, we live in an inclusive society, that they really wanted to have a representation of that, but the execs didn't feel that way. So for the women, the execs thought that the women nailed the ergo fit, and that their market, the way they marketed was approachable. However, just like I thought, they thought that they played it safe, and that they really would have liked to have seen the switch up with Brooke and her husband. With her husband on the back and Brooke riding it. They just thought that they played it too safe, and I agree. So out of all of that, the men won. So the women, out of the women that had to go back in the boardroom, was Brooke, Portia, and Kyle. So everybody wanted to say that Kyle wasn't going to take any responsibility for what went on, even though she was the project manager. She really felt like, well, Brooke didn't do the shot. It was it was last minute change and there was nothing she could do about it. But I still say that she should have put her foot down and either said, fine, if your husband doesn't want to be in it and your husband is not going to be okay with some strange guy, I want the shot. I wouldn't have cared who it was. I would have gotten the shot, because they said if that had happened, more than likely they would have won. Portia said that, you know, she felt strongly about the presentation, although I think even if they had gotten Lisa, she did two different shots, and Kyle didn't think that Lisa should have been in both. But ultimately, it fell on the project manager, and finally, y'all, Kyle was terminated. So the men were kind of laughing because they thought that whatever they should have been figuring out what a project manager should do, they kind of laid on the scene, and they were kind of gloating on the fact that they're 4-1 on the win. But lo and behold, the governor decided that we're going to mix it up. So because the ladies have been losing, they've been getting their butts kicked so bad, they decided to switch them up. So two of the ladies were on the Arete team. Let me see. It was Brooke and Layla was on the Arete team. And then on the Prima team, they brought over Vince, Carson, and I can't think of the other name, so forgive me. So their second task was to make their own celebrity candy. See's, S-E-E, never heard of this company, but hold on a minute. See's Candy is owned by Warren Buffett, the billionaire. And their task was to create, name, and package their own See's celebrity candy. And what was going to happen is that they were going to do their first fundraising project. So this is a time where you call all your friends, all your family, anyone that has a wallet, and they're going to be doing fundraising for this. So once all the candy is made, it's going to be sold at the See's Candy store. The team that wins is the one that makes the most money. So this just comes down to dollars and cents. Now, one member from each team was going to fly to the headquarters of the See's Candy Company, which is in Omaha, Nebraska. And the Warren Buffett is going to taste the candy. Whichever candy Warren Buffett likes the most will get a bonus $25,000. And the $25,000 will count to the final number of the fundraising. So the $25,000 is big, because whoever gets the $25, that could make or break their final number. So for the project manager on this, on the Arete, is Vince, because he felt like he could really do, he's been kind of bragging with the guys that he could bring in money. And then the project manager, I take it back, because Vince is over in Prima now. So he's with Prima, he's the project manager, and Ricky from Arete is the project manager, because he said that he could bring in $300,000. So for the Arete team, Leila comes up with the recipe. Now, there's a little dissension in the midst, because John Lovitz once again comes up with these 1,000,001 ideas of candy, and nobody's giving him any time. He's coming up with, he's just running a mile a minute with these ideas, and Ricky is a little distracted with him, so he decides that he is going to send him to Oklahoma, that he's going to be the one. And John Lovitz is really taken aback. Now, of course, when you think that you're being pushed aside, you're going to feel a certain way, and that's how he was feeling. He was definitely feeling that he was being sent to Oklahoma because he did not feel that anyone took him seriously, or that he was a good contributor. And the truth be told, Ricky really wanted him out of the way. He figured that the best use of John Lovitz would be that he would be gone. So I can understand why he was feeling a little testy about it. For the Prima side, Carson comes up with the recipe. Now, Shale, who is not my most favorite of all of them, I have to say he does come through on this. He is an avid Warren Buffett fan, devotee, supporter. I don't know what the word is, to go sell the candy. Now, was it? I'm trying to think which one. I think it was Prima. Prima had like the Marina Del Rey area, and it had a lot of foot traffic. I think that was it. And then yeah, I think that was it. So a lot of people were coming in. Money was coming in. And yeah. And even Kyle showed up, even though she got eliminated. She showed up for Prima and donated $10,000. And then for Arete, they had a really slow start because where they were at, the location wasn't all that great. But then they gained momentum. So a whole part of the segment was just hearing all the money being donated, and this amount of people came in, this amount of people came in, all that jazz. So that was good. A lot of hype, a lot of excitement. Now, I have to say, as a side note, I already had a favorite. I had already said this before. And as all the different episodes are going on, I still have an affinity and love for Boy George. Now, people who know from my high school years knew I was a huge Boy George fan. Loved him. And, you know, one of the great things of seeing the Celebrity Apprentice, if you have a favorite celebrity, is seeing how they are and watching the people coming in to buy candy and to be with his fans. He is so nice and he is so gracious, and I just adore him. I absolutely adore Boy George. There is nothing about him so far that has turned me off, which is one of the bad things about reality shows. You start seeing your celebrities in their true form of who they really are, and now you can get turned off. But he's so sweet, and he smiled, and he was just gracious with everybody, and it just makes me love him even more. Just saying. All right, so back to what the review is all about. All right, so 2 things that they had to do in this task: create a unique candy, raise money. So let's get to the numbers. Arete raised $365,745. Very impressive. Prima, they raised $378,535,000. So there was a $13,000 difference. Both impressive. However, with it being so close, whoever got the bonus money from Warren Buffett would be the winner. So who do you think got it? Okay, so it was Prima. Prima, who was on Vince's team, the project manager. They won the $25,000. They won with a tried and true traditional formula that Warren Buffett likes. And oh, by the way, if the other team had done any kind of Googling, they would have known that Warren Buffett isn't big on dark chocolate, which was one of the things that Layla had in her recipe. It was dark chocolate, caramel, vanilla cream, and a hint of raspberry. He liked both of the candies, but the other candy, he's a traditionalist. He likes what he likes, and he liked the traditional candy. The twist on this one was that the winner of this task not only won the money, but they win the loser's money as well. So this by far was the biggest win for a project manager. Vince took $769,000 towards his fund. his charity, and the charity was MSA, multiple system atrophy. He had a friend who died recently from it affects the brain, and he said this guy didn't smoke, didn't drink, he exercised every day, and he just essentially just wasted away. And so MSA, there's no cure. They don't even know what causes it. And for him to win $769,000 was huge. So the ones that went to the boardroom was Ricky, John Lovitz, and Layla. Ricky because he's the project manager, Layla because she did the recipe, and guess what? Out of everybody, all of those celebrities, let's just break it down. Ricky was expecting to raise $300,000. He didn't even come close. In fact, when they did the numbers, Boy George on his own raised $119,000. The same amount of money as Ricky did, and Ricky was the project manager. So generally speaking, the project manager should be setting the bar really high and meeting the bar, and other people follow suit. So that was a ding to him. Then Leela, she raised $45,000, which was very impressive. John Lovitz, who is a Saturday Night Live alumni. He's been in the business since the 80s. He's been in movies, and he's been in voiceover cartoons, not to mention his stand-up. Guess how much money he raised? Guess how much money he raised? $500. He raised $500. Now, he wanted to blame the fact that he got carted off to Omaha, that he did not raise, why he didn't raise the money. But Shale, who was also on the airplane with him. So, bottom line, even though Ricky should have been terminated, the fact that John Lovitz did a poor job on fundraising got him terminated. So, I hear from the next episode is the finale. Is that possible? I have no idea, but we'll see. But that's it. That's all about The Apprentice. I am late in uploading my videos for Jumpstart January because I was not home. I was not at work long enough to upload them. So I'm going to be doing that, and I'm going to be uploading The Apprentice, and I'm going to be going to bed, and then I'll be seeing you guys in about 7-8 hours. I'm tired, but I got it done. I hope you enjoyed The Apprentice review. Please like, comment, subscribe, tell a friend, share, and I will talk to you next week, next episode. Bye.